This is a pep talk to myself because I know that when I see this video back, I'm going to need the pep talk just as much as I need it right now. Just do it anyway. Just show up, just do it. Again, we are focusing on the process, not the outcome.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
So just do it, show up for yourself, keep the commitment to yourself. I'm gonna leave this in the video because I feel like it might be useful for anybody who is trying to make a digital vision board, because usually when you're trying to make a vision board, you are trying to make some positive changes in your life. So I think for me, in order to realize that I wasn't in alignment, I really had to hit my rock bottom. Now, when I hit my rock bottom, I was obviously on my hands and knees, literally praying for something to change, because if something didn't, I didn't feel like I had any other choice, if you catch my drift. And this may not be the case for everyone. Not everyone who is trying to make positive changes in their life is going through like a dark time, and hopefully the majority of the people that are coming to this video aren't experiencing the same type of like desperation that I was feeling when I started to make these changes. And hopefully most of you are here from a place of just pure curiosity, like wanting something new, but not because you felt as low as I did. If you are coming from that same place that I experienced, there's room for you here too.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm drinking the PB2 in my protein shake. So yeah, this has 2 grams of fat, 150 milligrams of sodium, and just kidding.
I don't have the same amount of time to film this whole video in one sitting. But anyway, I need wine. Let's talk about how long I've been doing vision boards for. I've actually been doing vision boards since 2019. I started making vision boards in more of like the DIY fashion. So we would print pictures out and then we would cut them out and then we would put them on like a cardboard or something like that. That's how we started, Selene and I, and one time I was lucky enough to have Selene and Sele join me for a vision board day, and we would dedicate literally a whole day's worth to creating these vision boards and just like talking about life. But obviously I don't have the same amount of time anymore. I am a avid Pinterest user. I used to just use it for like interior design, inspo, and one day I came across a digital vision board. Because of how crazy my life was at the moment, I decided to try to make my own vision board digitally, and so this is what it looks like. And I'm going to walk through what every image means for me, and hopefully it gives you guys a better understanding as to my process and how this has helped me to stay aligned with my values and the goals and processes that I have in my life. This time around when I made this vision board, I did make a tweak, because in the past the vision boards that I made really focused on the end destination. I used to have like my goal weights on there, my end goal career, and I have tweaked it to where I'm not just trying to focus on getting to a certain place. I'm not just trying to focus on getting a certain thing or checking a certain box off, because realistically this this vision board that I have now is something that I want to continue to practice for a long period of time until I feel like there needs to be a change in my life or in the season of life that I'm in. I hope that makes sense, but I'm trying to look at it as more of a long-term plan, not just okay, once I get this, I'm gonna remove it off my vision board and it's time to focus on the next thing. I hope that makes sense, but that is the biggest difference that I've made with my vision boards that I feel like really make vision boards work, because it almost relieves the pressure of feeling like you have to have something done at a certain time. And it doesn't discourage you when you don't get to a certain place, but it also motivates you to get up every day and focus on building these habits or focus on making room for these emotions that you're chasing after, or I hope that that makes sense. But that's my biggest secret to making vision boards work. Okay, so the way that I'm going to explain this is from left to right. So the first image that you guys are seeing is a mom playing with her daughter.
Or at least that is my interpretation of the image.
The reason that I chose this picture specifically was because I don't have a lot of memories playing with my mom. That's because my mom is a very hard worker. She's always been a hard worker, and of course she had to provide, and she didn't always have the privilege and or freedom to play. And so I've always made it a really big deal to make sure that I play with Jude.
I don't need Chris too much. I don't need Chris. I don't need Chris too much.
Not just play with her, but really engage with play in general and like get down to her level and just allow the parts of my inner child that didn't get to play to come out during those times.
Hello everybody. Welcome to our 4th annual charity event. Or charity.
I feel like it helps me connect to my inner child and almost like devote some healing to my inner child in that way, but at the same time it's allowing me to connect with my daughter in a more intimate way. So that's why I picked that image. So the following picture after that, I chose this specific picture because my faith with God has really grown. My faith journey in general has been very roller coastery. And I was thinking about this on my way home from the gym today. I don't remember why I was thinking about this, but basically I feel like your relationship with God, with religion, with faith, all of that is only for you and the higher power that you believe in. You don't have to explain it to anyone as long as you feel comfort and safe and secure in your relationship. I think that that's all that matters. But all of that to say, my faith has grown significantly since 2020, and I attribute a lot of that to really finding grace towards myself, but also learning that the world isn't against me. I chose this picture because I think in the past I used to only pray when I needed something or when I was going through something, and I feel like I live in such a better headspace when I am able to pray to God and say thank you for all of the beautiful things that you have given me. And so I find myself praying all of the time, and it's not just praying to ask, it's also praying to connect and to just come from a place of gratitude. So that image means a lot to me because I think it's just a constant reminder of no matter what scenario, season of life that you're in, it's always good to connect with God. So the next image that I picked is this girl in her oversized hoodie, and she has her baseball cap on, and to me this image signifies work. And at the time when I made this vision board, I was still in school, so it was kind of my reminder to continue to make sure that I'm prioritizing school and taking time to work on that. I'm no longer in school, and we can talk about that in another video. But either way, my goal is to get my channel monetized, to create a job for myself that is in the creative field. And for me, the closest connection that I have to creation has always been my laptop at the moment. So I just thought it was a perfect image. And of course, the oversized hoodie, if you've been with me for a long time, you know how dear hoodies are to me. And if I ever release a piece of merch, it's going to be a black hoodie. So just remember that for if that time ever comes. Okay, so this next image is very important to me because I think it is the one piece of motivation that I go back to whenever I'm feeling discouraged. Sorry, Jude's napping and I left her monitor on, but basically this is the quote that I tell myself whenever I'm feeling discouraged when it comes to content creation, because I've been doing YouTube for a very long time, and even before I started my channel, it took me a very long time to even put out my first video, and I've talked about it millions of times before, but it all comes from being insecure about myself and being afraid to be seen, even though this is where I feel the most alive and connected, and the most authentic version of myself is when I'm creating content for YouTube. I just can't shake that no matter how shitty I feel about myself, about certain circumstances or whatever might be going on in my life, I still feel this urge and this like pull in my heart to continue to make content. And I just keep thinking that there's a reason why this whole thing has come about. I don't know what it is yet. I don't even know if this is more like a connecting piece to where I'm meant to be, or this is just an outlet for me. And I think that even if I never find out, I'm still gonna want to be making videos. So I am just gonna ride this wave until I feel like I don't want to do it anymore and see what comes from that. But there's a reason why I'm being pulled to do it, and so I'm gonna continue to pull through and do it and show up. And I always say to focus your time on the things that bring you joy, and this is one of the things that brings me joy. So we'll see what happens if I keep showing up. If you're new here, hello, my name's Natalie, and I actually have been in eating disorder recovery since 2020. So this picture of this girl eating her pizza and drinking her wine is basically my perception of maintaining a healthy relationship with food, because I never want to go back to that place where I was before getting into recovery. But not just that, I think that also plays a big role into body image and maintaining a healthy body image. This is almost like the way that I want to remind myself to continue to honor my hunger and satiety cues and to trust my body and listen to my body. That's what I was trying to get to. I feel like it's the perfect image for me that reminds me that my body is capable of telling me what it needs and what it doesn't need, and it's okay if some days it's a slice of pizza and a glass of wine. So I'm not feeling very great right now, mentally or physically. Me duele mucho la panza, but also I'm feeling some type of way. Funny, because we were just talking about like body image and relationship with food, but I am struggling with that today, so I'm sorry if my energy is a little bit off, but maybe this is the perfect time to talk about the next image. I think that this season of life and everything that I've learned and gone through has led me to this moment to really show me how important it is for me to practice self-love. And it's been the lesson from the very beginning, but I feel like I'm finally grasping it, even if it's just by an inch. I chose this picture specifically because I feel like once you start to take care of yourself in little ways, and you start to keep promises to yourself that you have, such as going to the gym, drinking enough water, making sure that you eat enough throughout the day, no matter how busy your day gets, etc., etc. I think that all of that starts to make you feel more confident in yourself and your decisions, which then leads to more confidence in accepting that you are deserving of good things that make you feel good. Just like how I want all of my friends to know what it's like to get enough rest, to eat nutritious meals, to have deep belly laughs, to love how they feel in what they wear. I want the same thing for me, because there's no other way around it than to say that when I start to take care of myself, I'm able to take care of other people around me, because I am learning how to make that a practice for myself, which in turn helps me to make sure that I make it a practice for the people that I love and the people who also deserve to be taken care of. Before, I used to think of self-care and self-love like something that is selfish. And I think that that belief just comes from the conditioning that we have as women growing up in this society, that if you're not taking care of others, if you're not taking care of everybody first before yourself, that you're being selfish. But that's not true. I guess what really flipped the switch in me was one time in therapy. I was talking to my therapist about how Ricardo and I had made this agreement where once a week I wanted 1 hour to work on my YouTube and to do it uninterrupted and to do it in my house, because I have a really hard time doing anything in my house and not involving Jude because I feel guilty. So the goal was 1 day a week, spend 1 hour to create content and see how that goes. But I hadn't been able to do that prior to this conversation because I felt so guilty about it. When Jennifer asked me, which is my therapist, she asked me, are you trying to model to your daughter to be selfless? And I told her no. And I told her that I want Jude to be selfish. I don't want her to feel like she needs to be everything for everyone all of the time, because what does that lead to? That leads to burnout. To me, that also leads to depression, because you feel so empty that you literally have no urge to want to participate in your day. So no, I don't want to teach my daughter to be selfless. I want to teach her that, hey, you can take care of yourself and take care of the people that you love. And sometimes that doesn't always look as balanced as we would like, but that's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. So all of that to say, I chose this image to remind myself that I need to take care of myself and I need to love myself the same way that I do it for other people, because I deserve it too. For the picture right below that, I chose to put a picture of a couple that I perceived being seen from their apartment window dancing, and that's kind of how I see the image. And for me, this image simply represents making sure to keep the romance and the intimacy in my marriage. Both of those things are very important to me. I think I've talked about it on here before, but those are important things that I practice in my marriage. Just continuing to date one another, being intimate is a really important role in our marriage. I think we both really value that, and we also value getting to know one another every single day, because yes, we've been together for a very long time, and Ricardo is the man for me, and he's been the man for me since I was 16. And a lot of people can look at that as a negative way, because people say that
you didn't experience enough.
But for me, I feel like every single year we change as people, and so I've gotten to learn and experience a different version of him every single year. And with that comes differences in the way that you expect to receive and give love. We all change, so sometimes the way that we want to be treated changes, our needs change, our wants change. Yeah, it's just a reminder to continue to work on my marriage and to keep holding it to that standard that I have it at now, because it is important to me, and I can have everything in the world handed to me, but to me it feels like it wouldn't be worth it if I didn't have my husband and my daughter by my side. So that's just the image that I use to represent this belief and this like strong reminder that I have for myself. I have never felt more like an egghead than like how I feel right now. I tried to do my hair before getting on camera just so I was a little bit more presentable because my hair was a mess. But the last clip I recorded earlier too with the same hairstyle, and I was like right here, and I just feel like such a 𝗿𝗲𝗍. Anyway, I digress. The following picture is pretty self-explanatory. It's a girl meditating. Hold on, I forgot to turn down Jude's monitor. I started meditating again back in 2020 when I started therapy, and it has done wonders for me because I was somebody who suffered with really bad anxiety, really bad depression, and a lot of that comes from not being able to live in the moment. And one of the ways that helped me to remember to stay in the moment when things were really, really bad was through meditation. And at the time, I did have a meditation app. I think I had it for the last 2 years, and it just expired here in March. And I told myself, once I feel like I'm going to start using it again, then I will renew the subscription. But to be completely honest, I haven't prioritized taking the time to do that. However, I will say, because I'm able to recognize now when my body needs to slow down, I kind of give myself grace and just feel whatever I'm feeling, whether I'm anxious, whether I'm stressed out, and I recognize the feeling. It feels almost like recognizing that feeling gives me the same emotion that I felt when I would complete a meditation, because I was aware of what was happening, but I also understood that this was temporary and that I'm going to be able to move away from this feeling. And a lot of the time when I start to feel super overwhelmed, it's because I'm worrying about things that I have no control over. And so I just kind of remind myself of that. I give myself a lot of affirmation. So I'm not actively meditating right now, but I feel like I have enough resources in my mental health toolbox to help me get to the same resolution that I would have gotten through meditation. There are some things, some topics, some themes around meditation, not around, but that you can find meditations about that I can't come up with on my own, like inner child healing, body image healing, stuff like that. So I think when I feel that pull to it more, I'll probably renew my subscription with Insight Timer, because that's what I used to use. But if you haven't tried meditation to just slow your mind down, I suggest you give it a try. 5 minutes, even 5 minutes might seem hard for somebody who's always go, go, go like I was, but it does do wonders for your mental health. It's crazy to say this, but at this point, I've been filming this video since March 18th, which by the time you guys see this, that would mean that I took 2 months to film this. We can talk about why I stopped uploading, posting on social media in another video, but let's move on to the next image. I think it's really interesting the way that the universe chooses to talk to you, because the next image reads, "To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong." I've talked about this several times on here about how I put too much weight in other people's opinions about me. I choose to sit out on a lot of experiences because I get anxiety around thinking about what people might perceive me as, how I might look doing certain things, etc., etc. That doesn't stop when it comes to me being creative. This is the way that I express myself. I have lots of creative friends in my life and lots of creative family, and I always tell them that art is subjective. What you create from your own ideas, your own life experiences, it's unique and it can't be right or wrong unless you're hurting yourself or other people, right? But as far as just like creating and making art, you can't be wrong, and you can't be afraid to be wrong in that area, because then that prevents you from creating. And so for me, I put this on here to remind me that my art isn't wrong, that it's going to gravitate towards the right people, that I don't need to change who I am, what I do, what I look like in order to be seen. So that's what that means for me. I'm going to knock these last two images out in this session, but the next one is visualize your highest self, then show up as her. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I've heard it lots of times before, and it's basically like Think of the woman that you want to be and do the things that that woman would be doing. For example, mine would take care of herself mentally, physically, to be able to show up for her loved ones, but also to be able to set an example for my daughter. My higher self is going to be able to create income from something that brings her joy and not just something that feels financially secure. You know, things like that. A lot of the time it's also the concept of, is what you're doing today helping you to be where you want to be tomorrow, or whatever that quote is, you know what I'm saying. And it's very self-explanatory, as I feel like most of these images are, but it did something to me when I saw this way. Sometimes you need to hear things, you need to hear the exact same things multiple times, coming from a different mouth, a different perspective, in order for it to kind of click. And in that moment for me, when I saw this one specifically, it did something to me. And I think that image specifically was the one that kind of led to me creating the habit of working out again and focusing on strength and not aesthetics. And look, here we are now, basically 6 months later, and I'm so much stronger than I've ever been. And so now I'm trying to take that same concept and apply it into other life categories to create the highest version of myself. And that's exciting to me, because to me that feels like I'm working towards something, and it builds confidence in myself because I am starting to show up for myself. I hope that makes sense. And the last image, again, very self-explanatory, but I really liked this one because the girl's wearing her hoodie and she has her headphones on, and to me, she's got her game face on. There is just something about wearing that hoodie and just like being so focused, and the next set that you're about to do. I think this image for me is just to remember that when I step foot in the gym, it's solely for me. It's solely to help with my mental health and to help with being able to move my body and to do things that a able-bodied person could do. And that's it. That's all that matters. Basically, like cancel out the noise type of vibes. That's what this image gives me. And that's it, guys. That's the explanation of my vision board. Even though I started filming this in March, I haven't changed anything. I did want to say that there's a little green square at the bottom of the screen that says a new era of me. I didn't explain that because I feel like all of my explanation around this vision board is kind of explaining to you, this is the version of me that I'm trying to be every day. So that's why I did not explain that little square. But let's move on to the next section of the video. Okay, so you may or may not have skipped through the explanation of my personal vision board. This may be the section of the video that you actually came for, and I would like to jump straight into it, but please tone out my dishwasher going on in the background. So the tools that you're going to need are a digital device, which if you're watching this, you probably don't have an issue with that. And you're going to use Pinterest or Google as your search engine. Personally, for me, I prefer to start by using Pinterest because I have found that when I'm looking for particular images, once I find the image that I'm looking for, it'll usually feed me more of the same images. I personally would go with Pinterest first, and then if I can't find what I'm looking for, maybe look at Google. Either way, both of these options are free. I just feel like Pinterest has more catered images to what you're looking for specifically. I find that the images that are on Pinterest are a lot more aesthetic. Okay guys, so I wanted to take this screen recording so that you guys could see what I mean. I know that a lot of people watching this video are going to want to look up something similar to wanting to work out more. So I would always search for whatever you're trying to put on your vision board and add the word aesthetic to it, because I feel like it really does help to narrow down the pictures that you might want to use that are just more visually appealing. And as you can see, when I put in gym aesthetic, it has a lot of pictures that I personally would use for my vision board. Now, if you do find an image that you like, you're just going to click on it, and then there's going to be these 3 little dots up on the right hand corner. You click on those and then it should give you this option to download the image. Once you download it, it'll go straight to your camera roll and then you will have access to that image. And then to compile all of these images, whatever you want to add to your vision board, I would suggest using Canva or any other app or website that allows you to paste images and create your own PNG, JPEG, whatever format of image that you want. I would also recommend journaling prior to this, just kind of the aspirations that you have for yourself, what the higher version of yourself looks like and what you're aspiring to create in your life. And that's basically what I feel like you guys need. Okay, y'all, we finally made it to the end of this video, and I can't believe it since I started filming this in March. But this is the fun part. This is where you get to use all of your creativity to create your own vision board. This is the part that you get to be creative and put things in order in the way that you feel the most pulled to. I use Canva because I use Canva for YouTube, and what I like about Canva is that they already have the dimensions set as a template for the iPhone wallpaper or for your laptop screensaver, things like that. And I know that they offer a free trial. I'm not sure for how many days, but I would recommend you trying Canva if you want to do something similar to what I did. I think the process of actually putting everything together once you have the document dimensions set up is pretty easy. You already at this point should have all the images that you want compiled onto your computer or your phone, and then you're able to upload them and rearrange them on Canva. The other thing that I wanted to mention about Canva is that they have really cool fonts already installed. So if you wanted to add a specific word or a quote or something and you didn't find what you were looking for when you were searching for your images, then maybe you can just type it out and use those fonts instead. They also have really cool graphics. They have a bunch of stuff. So I would recommend using Canva. Lastly, I would just say to take your time. Enjoy the process. Really think about what it is that you want, not just what you're influenced to want, and stay true to yourself, because I think the things that I've managed to manifest have all been things that I wanted authentically, and they weren't things that I was being influenced to want. And maybe I'll explain that in another video. I'm thinking about making a video where I talk about the things that I've manifested off of my vision boards, but this video is so long already, so I might just have to do a whole other video on that. I know that this video was more so about me and my process with vision boarding, and the tutorial was very short. But if you watched this entire video, thank you so much. Thank you for being patient with me, with my channel, for dedicating some time to watch my content. I am honored. It feels good to be done with this video though. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. I don't know when my next video will be, but hopefully it's sooner than this one. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys are staying fearless, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!